Joining us to discuss, we're bringing in Steve Gill. He's a talk radio host and former U.S. trade official. Steve, always good to see you. Thank you for being with us today. So explain this to us. Trump keeps saying the economy is doing great right now. Why this cut? And how does this impact the average Joe out there?
Yeah, I think the president wants a preemptive strike to make sure that the economy does keep rolling, because there are a lot of adverse impacts on the U.S. economy that could cause problems down the line in just a little bit. You've still got the trade friction with China. You've got questions of what the Brexit and all the chaos that you were just talking about in Europe, and with the British, having their own internal issues, and Europe having some slowness in their economy. There are a lot of things that are putting pressure on the economy that could have an impact. And I think President Trump is wanting to get ahead of it. That quarter-point cut isn't really going to have any big impact. I think it's a lot less than what the president was wanting, a lot less than perhaps what the economy needs to keep rolling. But right now, that's all we're going to get.
Okay, so it is what it is for now. But yeah. Steve, making money cheap to borrow right now, is this aimed specifically at domestic spending? And is this bad news for people who are savers?
Yeah, anytime you've got the interest rates at such a low level, if I've got a CD at the bank, I'm not making much money. You've got the stock market that's been on a roll, but that's going to be for more aggressive investors. And then the gold price seems to be kind of taking this in stride. It's not going up, it's not going down. Again, I think people are really concerned on why the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement hasn't been done. That would give a boost to the economy. The idea that we were going to reach a deal with China has seemed to fall by the wayside. They're now looking at whether we can increase some sales of soybeans, whether we can help the technology transfer move ahead. But the idea of a big deal in China looks to be moving by the wayside. And then on top of that, you've now got trade friction between Japan and South Korea that further amplifies the issues in Asia. So there are a lot of storm clouds on the horizon, and I think the president wanted a little extra boost to make sure that none of that rains on our parade.
Yeah. Now, I'm glad you brought up some of these other Asian countries. Some of those external factors taken into consideration for this cut came specifically from Asia, probably namely China. How much of this cut do you think can be tracked back directly to this trade war?
Well, I think a bunch of it. You've got Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State, that's meeting with other Asian countries this week. Again, you've got trade friction between South Korea and Japan that they're hoping the U.S. will intercede and kind of help mollify that. The U.S.-China trade deal, we had negotiators meeting this week, and now they're waiting to talk again, perhaps in September. You've got North Korea flinging missiles out and about. There is a lot of stuff going on in Asia that would tamp down that part of the economy and would obviously have an impact on us. In addition to the number of manufacturing companies that are fleeing from China as they watch the chaos and the hostility in Hong Kong.
And now you mentioned the other countries meeting, these other Asian countries obviously affecting markets as a whole globally, because this is the annual ASEAN summit getting underway in Bangkok, Thailand. I know you're keeping an eye out on that meeting, Steve. What should we be paying attention to at ASEAN? What should we see come out of there?
How well Mike Pompeo can juggle a lot of balls at the same time. Again, you've got potential military conflict, you've got economic conflict. It's a lot of problems, and literally it is tough straits to navigate. Again, you've got the right people, but you've still got to get deals. You've got to get things moving ahead. And right now, China, whether the president is accurate or not, may be waiting to see what happens after the election cycle, or they're just playing tough negotiation. They also have the ability to pull some puppet strings in North Korea, and I'm not convinced that some of these missiles lobbing around aren't at the behest of China. They're trying to distract from what's going on in Hong Kong. They're talking about military action to quell the unrest in Hong Kong. They're starting to limit the travel of folks from China to Taiwan. There is a lot of stuff going on in Asia, and this is a perfect time for a meeting, but not necessarily the right time for resolution.
Oh, all right. We will leave it right there and keep our eyes peeled for the ASEAN meeting this week. Steve Gill, thank you so much for talking with us today.
Thanks, Manila.